next on NJTV News. Hello, the Christie administration fires back. They spent this day denying those growing claims that they played politics with state funds. Those charges accelerated over the weekend when Hoboken's mayor insisted that she had been given a choice: support a development plan backed by the governor or lose millions of dollars in Sandy relief.
You don't forget, when the lieutenant governor of the state of New Jersey pulls you aside in a parking lot and says, I know it's not right, I know these things should not be connected, but they are, and if you tell anyone, I'll deny it. You remember it.
Well, you know, back in May when, you know, the lieutenant governor came and very directly said to me that these two things are connected, I didn't think anyone would believe me.
I'm not sure exactly what caused Mayor Zimmer to wait till now, but clearly the allegation that she was asked to support a redevelopment project where there was funding from the Port Authority, which we're investigating, in turn for her getting money for her municipality, raises serious allegations.
So serious, in fact, that the lieutenant governor came out swinging today. Our David Cruz picks up the story.
If Lieutenant Governor Kim Guadagno was worried about the allegations levied against her, she wasn't showing it this morning. At an MLK Day of Service event in Union Beach, Guadagno was all smiles, but turned serious when she made a statement refuting Mayor Zimmer's charges.
You need to hear me say this out loud, and I will. In short, Mayor Zimmer's version of our conversation in May of 2013 is not only false, but is illogical and does not withstand scrutiny when all of the facts are examined.
After a weekend of appearances on national cable news channels and, she says, several hours talking to the U.S. Attorney's Office yesterday, Zimmer's voice was shot, said her spokesperson. Instead, she issued a statement. I'm genuinely disappointed, she said, that Lieutenant Governor Guadagno has lived up to her promise that she would deny linking Hoboken's application for Sandy funding with expediting a private development project. I stand by my word and remain willing to testify under oath. The Christie administration says Zimmer is just the latest Democratic mayor piling on, jockeying for TV FaceTime. And some have suggested that the mayor's delay in reporting the alleged Christie pressure may have had more to do with her hope of riding Christie coattails in her own election in November.
A lot of her bases are Christie supporters. If she alienates the person before that election, she loses one of the advantages in her municipal election. She couldn't count them, so they had to wait.
Today, the governor dispatched Mark Ferzan, his Sandy relief fund czar, to dispel the suggestion that Hoboken wasn't seeing any Sandy money. He said millions have indeed gone to individuals in Hoboken.
Most of the programs are targeted to the individual. We've had very few programs, based on the limited resources we've received to date, very few programs where beyond the FEMA public assistance grants process, we've been able to, allocate funds to communities on a large scale.
Despite winning Hoboken in November, Christie's stock appears to be falling among some Hobokenites we talked to today.
I think Chris Christie needs to resign. He is a liar, he is corrupt, and I think that all of the people associated with him who are accusing Dawn Zimmer of being liars are liars, and they need to take a lie detector test to prove it.
Whether you believe that Democrats are piling on or finally exposing a political bully, the fact is that today the conversation is less about Chris Christie's inevitability as a presidential candidate and more about his viability as a presidential candidate. In Hoboken, I'm David Cruz, NJTV News.
In the meantime, another state official is strongly denying Zimmer's claims that he threatened to withhold state funds for political purposes. The Commissioner of Community Affairs, Richard Constable, gave us this statement today. He said, and I'm quoting, Mayor Zimmer's allegations are patently false and absurd on their face. I welcome, he says, a full and thorough law enforcement review of her libelous claims. Obviously, those are strong words, and it gives you a sense of why more and more officials are going out and hiring attorneys. Here's our chief political correspondent, Michael Aaron.
The recipients of legislative subpoenas are lawyering up. Port Authority Chairman David Sampson has hired former U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Michael Chertoff, a titan of the New Jersey legal world. Former Port Authority Deputy Executive Director Bill Baroni has hired former prosecutor Michael Himmel of the firm Lowenstein Sandler. Christie campaign manager Bill Stepien is being represented by former Deputy Public Advocate Kevin Marino. Bridget Kelly has retained another well-known former prosecutor, Wally Timpone. And, of course, former Port Authority official David Wildstein has already appeared with his attorney, Alan Zegas, a past president of the New Jersey Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers.
I'd say it's a defense dream team if these fellows all were united in interest, which, of course, they are not. But they are very, very experienced, very well-regarded white-collar defense lawyers in New Jersey.
New Jersey Law Journal editor Ron Fleury says Chertoff in particular has a stunning resume.
Former Director of Homeland Security, former federal appeals judge, former head of the U.S. Attorney's Office in New Jersey, and before that working for Rudy Giuliani in New York in the same capacity. Former Whitewater Committee counsel.
The governor's office, meanwhile, has retained Randy Mastro to help it deal with the several investigations. Mastro of New York's Gibson, Crutcher and Dunn is a Rudy Giuliani insider. What does it mean that people mentioned in emails are starting to retain lawyers?
It means they're smart to hire the best they can find. I think it's clear that money is no object when you're faced with something of this magnitude, with potential criminal liability. I can't think of, for each of these choices, it's hard to think of someone better that could have been picked.
The State Assembly also has hired a special counsel, Reed Shar, an Illinois lawyer who helped prosecute former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich. He will lead the Assembly's investigation here. As someone who's watched New Jersey for a long time, what do you make of this whole thing?
Well, it is one of a kind. We've never seen something that hit so hard at the heart of any administration as this, and that involved so many high-level people quite so quickly.
The subpoenas so far are for documents only. Who might be called to testify is a separate question. In Montclair, I'm Michael Aaron, NJTV News.
A lot of Democrats are now taking aim at Governor Christie, but Senator Cory Booker is not just ready to pass judgment yet.
At the end of the day, New Jersey deserves the truth and the facts. And I think that sobered, patient investigation, the truth will come out. And that's what we want to see happen. This is very serious stuff. We're talking about federal resources, state resources, interstate resources. In this day and age, and Governor Christie was a champion for taking on corruption in the past, we all know that if you lose your trust in government, if you lose your trust in public officials, then so much of the fabric of what we believe in as a society is frayed.